Alright, I'm going to try to drive and record at the same time, so apologies for, I just got shit to do, and I figured I'd talk about stuff while I was driving. If you can't see me, I apologize. So I'm going to the DMV kiosk because I gotta print out a new K4 record, a driving record from the state of California. Since I'll be a coach operator or a bus driver. It's just a fancy word for saying you're a bus driver. So I got to do that today, and then I'll start at the OC. So, they got a black lab or whatever that is. So I got to do that, and then I'll pretty much start. I got everything else I need for it. Nah, shit, I knew that was gonna happen. Alright, well, it just makes it kind of awkward. So, I guess I can just do this, call it a day. Just drive with one hand, which is not legal, but I gotta do it for the vlog. I'm just kidding. So, yeah, I gotta do that today. I'm going there. When I'm at a red light, I'll try to fix the camera. It'd be kind of cool to record the footage of me just driving, which would be kind of chill. It looks like I gotta stay on this. Looks like I can stay on this street. So. Yeah, and that was if you're kind of new to my channel, I guess, I do photography and like videography and stuff on the side. When I was in Nashville, let me get over, and when I was in Huntsville is when I really kind of got into like photography and shit like that. I got into like macro type stuff, and I got some filters and started taking like some really cool pictures of plants and leaves and nature and just up close stuff, insects. So kind of by doing that, I just kind of I kind of just indirectly was able to learn how to shoot. And video, you know, like I learned my ISO and what aperture rating was, and I learned about shutter speed, and I learned about shooting manual and shooting raw, and you know, I learned about full frame versus mirrorless, and changing out lenses and adapting lenses, getting adapters to, you know, mess around with stuff. So I you know, was able to do that. I'm gonna try to fixate this on this. Let's see if I can do it this way. This is kind of awkward. Okay. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. So that's how I kind of got into. So if you see my videos of my dog and whatever, it's shot with a camera. It's not shot with a phone. It's shot with a Panasonic Lumix. And before that, I had a Sony A7 III for a while. But so great. There goes the camera. It's like a little joyride. So, yeah, so I forgot this goes into one lane. So, yeah, I mean, you know, all of this is years and years of me really putting out stuff. I mean, you'll see covers of me doing random stuff that aren't EQ'd, and songs and not really compressed and not mixed. Different kind of stuff over the years, and I've left it on there because, you know, I figured at some point in time I'd like to watch them again, I guess, even if they're not mixed, right? So there's that. I've always kind of played guitar pretty kind of like just on my own. For a long time, I was never really stretching out my strings, so it was still cool to play, but it was always once I really learned to like stretch out my strings and stuff, and there were some YouTube videos that I watched that really changed how I was able to, the sound of everything. So if you're trying to learn guitar, I would recommend learning how to stretch your strings, because you can't really tune things right if they're not stretched accordingly. You can, but they just don't really sound as good. So and with I started to play electric more, and I liked that because it's just kind of a different thing. It's MIDI, so you can connect it to a computer and jam around and whatever, and it I started using the pick more and kind of learned sort of how to pick better. That's been a thing, but it's all been years and years of progress, years and years of me trying to do this. So it all kind of comes from a history of doing this stuff while working full time and whatever. So I'm not trying to bore you right now. These guys are trying to cross. They're just doing their thing. So yeah, guitars are fun to play, and guitars are that and piano. I like piano too. I just don't really play piano right now. Guitars are fun to play, especially acoustic, because if you get the right strings and stuff and you get it to sound good, you can really play kind of really like ethereal and kind of like just really really nice sounds. That's something that you can do. Sorry, I'm like pretty much almost at my location right now, so I'm probably gonna have to hang this up. But they're fun things that you can do, so I'll pause this. Alright, I'm gonna do it from this way. So I got to the DMV. I'm just trying to get to the kiosk right now. Just trying to get to the kiosk. So if you want to learn how to play guitar, I think the most important thing is to change out your strings. It's the easiest thing that'll save time. Get a pick if you want. I would suggest getting a pick. You don't have to buy a fancy guitar or anything. You can go on Amazon and buy an Ashthorpe, or you can buy a Van Gogh, or you can buy a Pile guitar, or a cheap Yamaha, and just change out the strings. Get some elixirs, or get some I just have some Ernie balls, but elixirs are really good. The nano strings they have, and it'll cost you $15-20. So that's because a lot of people buy a guitar, and because it's not, the strings aren't good, they just kind of like, they don't really use it. It doesn't play well. So I'm gonna go inside. Alright, so bad news. I gotta go back home because I didn't bring my temporary CDL license with me, and I'm still waiting for my hard copy to come in too, so I forgot my backpack, which has all my shit in it. I could drive right now, whatever, and stuff, but I'm just in record at the same time, sorry, but I don't think I'm going to. proceeds to do so anyway. Let's see if I can. I'm just kind of offered that. So the camera's just gonna get all screwy. So, yeah, the main thing I would say with the whole guitar is just change out strings. Change out your strings and buy some Elixir or buy some Ernie balls or buy, there goes the camera. So, I'm just gonna pull over. I gotta get an adapter or something. I gotta get a thing for this. Just buy some stuff you can find on Amazon, and that's the main thing you need to do. Once I started doing that, you know, it definitely changed the game for me in terms of playing. And it's fun. It's fun, dude. When you change out strings, it becomes super fun to play. So I'm gonna try to figure out this so this thing doesn't move around. This kind of works. At least I can talk while I'm doing this, and you can see me. Yeah, there's really nothing else. You know, they say in order to learn an instrument, you have to understand how an instrument works. And I forget who said that. I think it may have been a video I saw, a YouTube video, or just a teacher. And the same thing with the piano too. Like, before you learn how to play piano, a lot of people think, oh, you got to learn chords and you got to learn, you know, songs, and that's not true. You got to learn how an instrument works. That's just me. Like, you know, I mean, you could say the same thing for driving. Well, you can be a good driver but not know how a car works, and that's true. I mean, you're not wrong. But you can be a better driver by learning how a car works. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, I'm a better driver because I know how an engine, you know, what's inside of an engine and stuff. And I know my pre and post trip inspections and, you know, and all that, So, yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna leave it like that. You know, learn how a guitar works, because you really don't understand how important strings are. A stringed instrument, which is a guitar, a lot of people kind of forget that. One of the main vital aspects of a stringed instrument is not the instrument itself, it's the strings. And if you don't have the proper strings on the instrument, you're not going to be able to play it. I mean, I'm sorry, like, I've seen people pick up a guitar or play a guitar, they say, oh, I play, and, you know, they've never changed out the strings, they aren't holding it appropriately, you know, they know a couple chords, they know how to play Wonderwall and you know, some whatever top 40 song, but they're just wasting. I'm not saying they're wasting their time, but they're not really putting in their time as an artist, as a musician, and you know, oh shit, I'm turning. This guy's coming through. So, you know, like, just kind of remember that. For me, I consider myself I guess people would consider me more of a singer-songwriter / composer than like an electric guitarist, or, you know, kind of like a solo instrumental guitarist, which I agree with, because I can play, but I don't really know scales. But I can play and sing, and I use my vocals to kind of create these effects with the guitar that sound cool. You know, like, that's kind of my thing. And you know, I'll just add my sound to whatever key is in, or above it or below it, and make sounds and shit. Yeah, sorry if you're looking at me like this. It's kind of awkward. You're just seeing my side. But, you know, I can't really do anything about it since I'm driving right now. You know, but a lot of people play an instrument and I don't know. That's my 2 cents. You know, I mean, other people can disagree for sure, and there are really good artists out there, especially on TikTok and YouTube, that have never changed out their strings. They play on the guitar they bought, haven't stretched it, and they play well. They're good singers. Some people are just gifted. I'm not going to say gifted, but some people just sing well. You know, some girls or guys are just good singers. And when you give them an instrument, you know, it just goes off of that. So, you know, but I'll argue and say that, you know, anybody's work can always be better. You know, especially when it's from the instrument itself and not the person. So when people say, "Oh, do you play guitar?" or "He plays guitar, have you heard it?" Like, I don't want people to think that I'm a guitarist or that I play guitar. It's more of me kind of like, it's like a study, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a book you gotta read. For me, a lot of this is a study. You know, when I tune my guitar, when I stretch my strings, when I change my strings out, you know, when I research and put in more work, researching, you know, instruments, a lot of this is study. You know, and I have a degree, and I studied in the UK for a year too. Like, you know, a lot of this is a study for me, and a lot of it is intonations, which is a word a lot of people don't know. But an intonation is how a string sounds, and it's kind of the comparison of how this tone can sound better, or, you know, how good of a tone does it sound. And I won't say the artist that I learned that from, but, you know, a lot of this isn't like, "Oh, I'm just playing," like, "Oh, you really play well. Like, no, a lot of it is me. A lot of it is just a study. It's me, you know, put it in the grind, and like a carpenter, you know, I will also oil my guitar. I'll clean it. I will, you know, those are things that people don't do that can make it sound a lot better. In terms of tuning it and stuff, is a whole, you know, that's a whole other realm. You know, I can constantly tune and retune to kind of how I want it to sound. And some people may say, "Oh, like, it sounds not as tuned, or it's loose." And part of that's on design. Like, sometimes I want my low E to sound a little bit more off, or, you know, just because of how I want to play the song or the piece or whatever. Some of it's intentionally. And of course, sometimes I'll do drop D and, you know, change my low E to a D, you know, and play Everlong or, you know, power chord type stuff. That'll work, you know, with that, I forget if it's drop D or if it's, where you change the low E to the D. So, yeah, that's kind of how that is. So, I'm going to go back home, and I just wanted to shoot something today, and I'll upload this so you can see what I'm up to. But, yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments about music, just let me know, and I'll try to do my best to answer them accordingly. Alright, I'm going to add to this while you see me drive. So, I just wanted to add, kind of the last thing I wanted to add was a lot of the reasons why people don't like to read, and a lot of the reasons why people don't read is under the same kind of thing I just talked about with music. You know, people see a book and they don't see the influences behind it, and they don't see how influential a piece of paper can be. So, and I don't read as much per se as I used to, although I do have my Kindle, and I have like the new Paperwhite and all that stuff. But books are the same thing, and you blame the education system for handing kids textbooks that are completely meaningless and pointless, and they have no, there's facts and whatever, but there's no oomph, there's no, it's like watching a really shitty movie, or watching one of those, just watching a movie that's just baseless. And we give that to kids when they're, all throughout school. These textbooks that are baseless and meaningless and pointless. The earth goes this way and it goes that way, and, gravitational, yada, yada, yada. And they don't give them books to read that could enhance their mind and enhance their, desire to crave to learn information more. Like, instead of giving them a textbook about gravity, why not give them a book by an author that's really fun to read, like H.G. Wells or something that's more science-based, or even Arthur Conan Doyle or something that's just more science-based, but it's just like, there's more desire, there's more oomph in it, you know what I mean? And the same can be said for, just anything. It's just, I didn't realize this fell down, sorry. Just one of the reasons why our education system is so poor. We give these children instruments, so to speak, that just don't play well, i.e. textbooks, and these large books that are pointless. And we don't give them these polished instruments that, can really open people's minds and kids' minds. So, you wonder why so many kids drop out. And we have teachers that don't read. I mean, shit. I mean, half of our teachers don't even like to read. And that's a fact. I mean, I could probably be a better teacher than, I'll say 80-90% of the teachers we have right now. All because I have a desire to read and they don't. You know what I'm saying? So it's a shame. We live in a country that's just, we don't give credit to where credit's worth giving. Or give credit, sorry. And I'll say the last kind of thing I'll say about books. A lot of people don't think that we can time travel. Obviously meaning that we can move physically from one place to the next. But it kind of dawned upon me that we do have time travel. And it's through books, specifically. When you read a book that was written in the 1300s, 1400s, or 1700s, that's time travel. You're reading something that somebody wrote that time. Think of it like a letter. I consider that a form of time travel, and I consider that something that we as a human species haven't, really gotten to really take the fruit from. movies and stuff are cool, don't get me wrong, but when you pick up a book that was written 500-600 years ago, even if it's hard to read, it's just different, dude. Like, it's just way different. It's a different life, different way of living. Obviously things were different back then. But, it's just things to think about. I mean, I think about some of the African American, or I'll say black writers, Frederick Douglass, obviously, Harriet Tubman. When you read books by them, like, it's just different. Like, I mean, it was not good back then. So that's all I got to say about that. I'll kind of cherry off. I feel like I'm cherry picking too much. So I gotta get this shit done.